Hey everyone, my name is Jeff, and in today's video I'm going to be replacing my older Kenmore dishwasher with a brand new Bosch 800 series dishwasher. I'm going to show you all that's involved with it. Come along with me. Most dishwashers are made to fit in a 24-inch space. You may want to just measure under your counter and your cabinet area to make sure before buying a new dishwasher that you are going to have the appropriate spacing. I already have an existing dishwasher here that fits that 24 inches, so I'm good to go. I'm going to be replacing this dishwasher with a brand new Bosch 800 series dishwasher that I got from Lowe's. For full disclosure, I'm a Lowe's partner, so they did send me this dishwasher to showcase on my channel and show you how I'm doing the installation here. So for more information on this dishwasher, you can just check the video description below. Things to note when you're picking out your dishwasher: so the refrigerator that we have is a black stainless steel. So when I was picking out the Bosch 800 series, I was also looking to match the same finish that we had on our refrigerator. You've got your water line that's coming into your dishwasher, and then you've got electrical to power the thing. As far as electrical, either you're going to be hardwiring your dishwasher or it's going to have a plug that you're going to have to plug into an outlet. You'll need to have an outlet installed in your cabinet. Before starting any work, I'm going to locate the circuit that my dishwasher is on down at my circuit breaker. I'm going to turn the power off, and then I'm going to find the water line that runs underneath my sink, go to the shut-off valve, shut off the water before I start any of the work on disassembling the dishwasher. So next we have to uninstall my existing dishwasher. Every dishwasher is a little bit different. What I'd recommend is you take the brand and the model number of your dishwasher, and if you're unsure how to uninstall it, see if you can pull up the manual online. Just go to Google, type that information in, see if you can pop that manual up and look at the install instructions from that. Essentially what I'm trying to do is locate any screws or brackets that are holding this thing together. I know that there's this trim or this access panel that's down here. I found out that there's two screws right here, and there's two screws underneath that are holding this together. And then most likely there's some sort of mounting brackets on the side of this that are holding this to the cabinet. I need to get access to those, unscrew those so I can pull this thing out. So with the dishwasher pulled out, I've got my water pipe here, I've got my drain pipe, and I've got my electrical. I have to disconnect all these things. Let's start with the electrical. So the white Romex we can see is running over here to this junction box. So this thing is hardwired. We can see that there's two screws right there that I'm going to loosen, and that's going to pop the metal cap off of this thing, allowing me to start disconnecting this Romex. Now before I do that, I did turn off the power, but just as another insurance here, I've got one of these voltage pens. You can pick one of these up. I'll leave a link in the description. We're going to go ahead and turn this on, and then when I go ahead and test this wire, if this was live, if this had power, it would be beeping, this would be turning red. It is not doing that, so that is my insurance letting me know that this is definitely disconnected, and I can then from this point uninstall. So essentially I need to disconnect this Romex from this junction box. This junction box and all the wiring is going to go out of here with this old dishwasher. So the white wires and the black wires are connected. The black wire has a screw that's holding it. I'm going to undo that. This little cap right here, I'm just going to twist off. That's holding the white wire. And then we've got our ground wire, which is just screwed to the junction box. I'm going to loosen all those up, ideally so I can then pull this Romex out of here and use it for wiring up the next dishwasher. Romex is free. Let's pull this back. Next is going to be our drain pipe, which is right here. There is this metal clamp that's holding it on, and there's just one screw right there I'm going to loosen this up, and then I'm going to pop that off. And real quick, as I do in all the videos on this channel, I've hidden Tinker. Tinker is my little hidden robot, and he briefly pops up in all the videos on this channel. He's going to pop up at some point during this video. If you happen to spot him, be the first person to let me know the timestamp. That's the amount of time into this video when Tinker pops up. Let me know that down in the comments section below. If you're the first person to correctly let me know, I will put your name on our Tinker Ford Hall of Fame page, as well as give you a shout out in one of my future videos. So even though I loosened this clamp here, there's this metal clamp that I'm going to need to squeeze together with either my fingers or some pliers. That'll allow me to pop this tube right off. My golly. Just know there might be a little bit of water that's left in your dishwasher, so have some rags or towels ready as that leaks out. And then last is going to be our water line, which is underneath. I'm going to tip this thing on its side so I get better access to it. So now that that's done, let's unbox the new dishwasher. So the dishwasher also came with these mounting brackets, and then they also recommended that I buy a dishwasher connector hose. So this one is 8 feet, and if we pull this out of here, so this has an elbow attached with it. This is Eastman 12253. So this is nice. It's telling me here that it includes the 8-foot long connector. Even has a diagram here showing me what goes to the dishwasher and then what goes to the shutoff valve. So we've got everything here. You'll notice with the hose, we've got our elbow, we've got different fitting attachments. So we've got everything we need to make our connections. So I've got this older water line here that's running where the dishwasher was underneath my cabinets, and then over to the sink, to the shutoff valve that's underneath. It's a little corroded, it's very old, it's copper, there's parts of it that are bent up. I'm going to see if I can replace that with my new hose. Let's loosen up our water line. Just so I don't have to pull all this extra piping through, I've got myself a pipe cutter. I'm just going to snip this end off and then zip tie the flex pipe to this and pull that through. And if you don't have one of these, you could also use a little hacksaw or something. This just goes a little bit faster. A little bit of zip ties, a little bit of duct tape. Let's send this guy through. Let's talk about electrical. So the back of the dishwasher has an electrical port for this plug, and if you've got an outlet already in your cabinet that maybe you were plugging your previous dishwasher into, you could just plug this into the back of the dishwasher, plug this into your outlet, you're good to go. If not, like my previous dishwasher was hardwired, Bosch sells a Junction box, which it's this number right here, and I will link to this down below. Lowe's actually carries this. Here's the Junction box. This is where it's going to plug into the back of your dishwasher. This gets mounted onto your cabinet somewhere to get access to wiring this up. So the Romex is going to go in through here. This also comes with a strain relief. You're just going to need a Phillips screwdriver. You are going to need some wire strippers. We're going to take a screwdriver and pop off the cover of this so that we can start wiring this up. So we are at the back of the dishwasher. We've got our plug for our Junction box. That is going to insert right there. So it's only going to fit one way. They want you to use the straps that are on the back. So essentially when this thing gets plugged in, it's going to look like that. This is then going to go to the Junction box. We are going to mount this on the cabinet adjacent to the dishwasher. Let's talk about wiring up our Junction box using our Romex. Using the existing wiring that I have, this is not quite going to work, so I'm going to trim this up a little bit. Use my wire snips to shorten these guys up, and then I'm going to strip about a ½ inch of the insulation off of each one of these wires. Using some wire strippers. Let's wire up our Junction box. Take note that you've got a black, a white wire, and a green wire going into these different ports. And essentially what we're going to do is first put on our strain relief. So there should be this washer, and then I actually took one of these screws out so this kind of swings open. But what we're going to do then is take your washer, that's going on the inside, take the rest of this, and essentially you're going to connect those together. Okay, and from this point, I'm going to insert my Romex. And from this point, I'm just inserting the black into the socket with the black, the white into the socket with the white, and then my ground wire into this green one here. Kind of hard to see, but you want to make sure that you are going so that there's a little metal plate that needs to stay on the bottom. Your screws are here, and once you've got those in there, then what we're going to do is tighten this down. I'm also ensuring that this Romex, this coating, the stripping that's on it here, the insulation, is making it inside this box. We don't want any of these wires exposed out here. Ensuring that I've got all the wires pushed into each box, I'm then going to tighten down these screws. And then to hold the Romex in place, I've got my strain relief that's got this extra screw. We're going to tighten that down. So you can see I've got a nice secure connection with my Romex, and then I'm just going to screw the top back on this Junction box. And then with my Junction box all screwed together, I'm going to wall mount this on the cabinet that's just adjacent to the dishwasher. Now I've got a lot of extra Romex here, but I just wanted to do this on the counter so you could see how this is. Obviously you just want an appropriate amount of this that's going to get this to the cabinet next door. And then you want an appropriate amount of space when you're installing this so that this plug is going to reach the back of the dishwasher, but at least you can still have some room to pull the dishwasher out and connect and disconnect this. So just keeping that in mind when you're doing the installation. So the dishwasher came with these two mounting brackets. I'm going to show you how we're going to mount these either to the top or on the sides. You are going to need to open the door at this point. It takes a little bit of force. It clips, I think it's magnetic as well. So we're just going to kind of put a little pressure on here, and I'm going to hold the unit and give it a little elbow grease, and then we're going to open this up. Let's take a closer look. So with the door open, I want to show you a little bit better of a close-up here of the mounting brackets that came with the dishwasher. you also have two of these little 1/2-inch mounting screws. And essentially, you've got two slits on the top, one right here and one that's a little bit further over. What you can do is take your mounting brackets, you want them to be angled so they're down like this, and you're going to put each bracket over this plastic trim so that it inserts into that slot. You would then take some needle nose pliers, and I'm going to pull this back out so you get a better view. But essentially, you're going to take this pliers and you're going to just kind of bend down the tips of this flap. So you'd bend this one down, you'd bend this one down, and that's going to keep this inserted in this slot. From this point then, when we're ready to back this into the slot for the dishwasher, to mount it to the bottom of the cabinet, I'm going to use this 1/2-inch screw, and we can actually go into any one of these holes here, but that's going to get screwed then to the bottom of my counter. If you're going to be mounting these brackets on the side to the side of your cabinets, you also have a little slit that's right here. Essentially, you are going to bend this outward, or you're going to have it facing so that the bend takes this outward. You're going to insert this into the slot. Notice we've got our flap right here. Those tabs, we're going to take our needle nose pliers and just kind of bend the tab so that this holds this in place. And the other thing you need to do is actually bend this tab completely over. So again, using your needle nose pliers, just go ahead and put that on here and bend this flap so that this is now going to be facing this way. So this actually doubles up, just giving it a little bit more support, and then put your screw through. What's interesting, or what's cool about this plastic flap that they have, is it already has an indentation here for this. They've made a little slot for you to insert your screwdriver so that you can screw this screw into the side of your cabinet. Let's take a quick look at the back of the dishwasher. So we've got these little flaps, so whether you're running your hoses out the left or the right, it recommends that you use these little flaps to kind of make sure the hoses are encased in those. Your power plug, whether you're using the Junction box with the plug adapter or a regular plug to an outlet, is going to get plugged in right here in the back. This back here is actually going to be the foot that is going to adjust the leveling. You'll do that from the front when we get to the leveling portion. You've got your drain hose, which is coming out right here, which I am routing under my sink, and we'll get to that shortly. The water line that I have run is going to go to right here. This looks like a cap, but really it's a filter that they have on the back. I'm going to attach my elbow by just screwing that onto that filter, and then I'm going to hook my water line to this. So I've tilted the dishwasher forward just a little bit just to give me a little bit more room. I'm going to be attaching this elbow to the spot where the water line is going to be coming in, and so I'm going to tighten this on, hand tighten it first. And then after hand tightening, I'm just going to use my grips here and I'm going to tighten it a little bit more. The trick is you need this to be secure, but you don't want to over tighten it because you don't want to start stripping those threads, but you also can't have this so loose that it's going to begin to leak. So I'm going to hook up the water line and I'm going to make sure that this is securing on the threads. From this point, I've got two of these wrenches, and one is going to be tightening up this water line onto the elbow. The other one is just going to be holding the elbow secure so that I don't maneuver this too much and potentially break anything off. From this point, with your water line secured to the elbow, before you push this thing into the cabinet and get everything all secured, it's a good idea to turn your water on. Take a look, make sure nothing is leaking. If you see something leaking, turn your water back off, tighten stuff up some more, or redo any connections as necessary to make sure that there's no leaks before this is going in the cabinet. So under the cabinet, we have our water piping, or water supply line, and then we've got our drain hose that is currently being piped under the cabinet here. This is what was coming out of the dishwasher, and I was able to insert that into the existing pipe here. That's going to the side of my garbage disposal under my sink. I was able to tighten the pipe down to this dishwasher drain hose by using a pipe clamp there. So I just kind of screwed that down using a flathead screwdriver, got that nice and secure and tight, and my water line and drain are ready to go. One thing I just want to tell you about this particular dishwasher, so there is no real room on the side or underneath this dishwasher for any type of piping. My previous Kenmore, the drain pipe actually went underneath, somewhere right around here, and connected into the dishwasher. So the pipe itself, as you can see down here, was actually coming out of the cabinet a little bit further in and not all the way towards the back. I found that when I was trying to insert this new dishwasher, it was running into this piping coming out the side, so I did have to cut a little bit more into underneath the cabinet there so that I could push that piping right towards the back. Just to show you underneath this dishwasher, so you get like 2 inches, 2¼ inches of room to stuff any piping back here. But as you can see, this dishwasher goes right to the ground, so there is no room. You have to make sure that all your connections are coming from the very back of whatever cabinetry you are going to be putting this into. So here's my electrical connection. You can see in the cabinet next to where the dishwasher is going to go, I have my junction box, and then my plug is running right here. You are not supposed to mount the junction box in the same cabinet right behind the dishwasher, which is why I actually have it mounted in this cabinet right next door. So if I raise the front of the dishwasher up, on the corners are these little feet that you can unscrew. You can either screw them with your fingers, they are a little hard to get started, or there's little ridges in the feet, so you can get a screwdriver in there to kind of help pry it, to loosen it up. But essentially you can raise or lower these feet. You want to get the top of your dishwasher so that it is about a ½ inch just underneath your countertop. I did put a level on the top of this, and it's level right now. I used that to help me gauge if the feet were level. You can also open the door and then put your level on here as well, and just make sure that that is also level, and both the top and the top of the door here are good to go. On the front of the dishwasher, if you lift up this apron, you'll also notice here that there's some arrows and there's a screw that you can turn using a flathead screwdriver. You can turn to the right or the left, and that's going to lower a foot that's at the back of the dishwasher, and that will also help with leveling your dishwasher. All right, dishwasher is mounted under the counter. So underneath the front, we're going to attach our toe panel with a couple of screws. So there's 2 brackets that you have to insert first. There's this apron, and essentially you can just push this back. This reveals the areas here where the brackets are going to go in. You'll notice this hole that's right here. Essentially this bracket just inserts into this little crevice. It's actually that screw hole right there. And then we've got our toe panel, and there's 2 screw holes. There's one here and one on the other side. We're just gonna line those up with the holes that are on those brackets we just put in, and go ahead and screw that on. So the drainage tubing is coming in under my sink. This black tube is coming from the dishwasher, and this needs to connect into either the drain of your sink or into your garbage disposal. In my instance, I have it connecting into my garbage disposal. You'll notice that the pipe goes up and then curves around and back. You'll need to create what's called a high loop for your drain hose. You'll either need that or you will need to install an air gap, depending on what your ordinance is, where you live. For the garbage disposal that you see here, I've done a whole other video on how I did this installation. I will link to that down below. Essentially what you'll need to do is take that drain hose and connect it with some hose clamps into the back side of your garbage disposal. There's also a piece of plastic you need to punch out of that garbage disposal. Again, check out my garbage disposal video for detailed instructions on how I did that. So there is this plastic hose clamp that came mounted to the back of the dishwasher when I was unwrapping it. And essentially you can just cut the top of it off. There's some screw holes. There's one here and there's one up here. And you can just mount this to the side of your cabinet. And then this holds the drain hose nicely to just secure it in place. Okay, let's take a quick overview look of the Bosch 800 series dishwasher. So why don't you come in a little closer? To open it up, just get your hand underneath, and it has like a clip, and I think it's also magnetic, so we're gonna just pop that open. From this point, you have all of your controls that are at the top. Let's go to the racks that are inside. So you essentially have 3 different racks. You have this one that's hidden way up top. And I'm going to pull this out. This is great for any of your silverware. There's 2 trays or 2 little spokes that pop up right here. There's a little clip that you can just undo, and that allows you to put those down. These areas of this tray have these little gray I'm going to just call it a little connector piece, and when you move that forward, that allows you to raise or lower this tray. You can do that on this side, so if you've got some silverware that's bigger, bulkier, you've got the flexibility here to expand these however you want. If you want things to go into these spokes here, you also have that ability as well. That's this top rack. Let's go to this middle rack. So on this middle rack, you've got these spokes and these spokes here that also have the ability to fold down. So you can fold those down if you want to put bigger stuff in there. You have these, which it has little glass icons on it. So if you wanted to put your stemmed glasses there, you can do that as well. I'm going to pop these back up. This whole tray is adjustable height-wise. So you've got a clip on either side, and you can just hold those in. That'll lower it to there, or you can raise it up. And let's see how high I can get this here. So you can move it to there. So if you've got bigger dishes on the bottom and you want to get this out of the way, you've got those options. Moving down to the bottom, we're going to pull this rack out. So this one's got this little basket here. This basket has this flap that can go on like this. So if you want to specifically have it squared off so you can put all your different utensils and stuff in there, you've got that option. You can also leave that off, and that opens these baskets up for bigger items. Over here, again, you've got these spokes that you can just lay down. So if you want to lay those down, you can do that as well. That's your bottom rack. What I recommend is every so often you want to clean the filter. The filter is going to be in the bottom right here. If this sprayer is in the way, you can just maneuver it out of the way. And then there's this handle right here that you can twist to the left, and that allows you to open and get this filter out of there. I would just rinse all this off, get any of your food particles and gunk out of there. That's going to avoid any type of smell starting to accumulate. You can just put it back in, and then when you turn this handle, there's a black arrow. You're going to match that up with this other black arrow, and then now that's good to go. You can even put your sprayer back in place. I'm going to move this bottom basket back in. Hi Tinker, are you checking us out as we're filming? Yeah, I'm showing them the dishwasher. And then as far as your soaps, here you gotta let them see though. Let's move you over here. What we're going to do is, so there's a rinse aid that you can add, and with the dishwasher it came with a sample. There's a little clip here, and if you open this up, you can pour it in there, and then we're going to go ahead and close that up. Now you can connect this dishwasher to the Home Connect app, and then in there it'll give you more information on when it's running and what cycle or what mode you have it running on. I believe it also gives you a notification when you're going to add more of the rinse aid. If you've got the little soap pods, those are going to go in here. So you just insert one of those in there, and then you can push this door closed. If you need to open this back up, the release button is right here. So that's going to open that back up. And then when you have everything all set, we're going to close this. To power this thing on, your power is right here. So you can go ahead and tap on that, and that should start it up. Let's see if it'll do it here. All right, there we go. And then you choose what mode you want. So if you want it on normal or auto, I found that you have to actually push on where it lights up in order for it to respond. And I think sometimes you even have to hold it. There you go. So you get what mode you want. As far as options, you have a sanitize, a crystal dry, and then when you're ready to go, you can just go ahead and tap start. And then when you tap start, let's see if it'll do it here. We should get a little ding. There we go. We'll just close this up. I've got my light on right here. Now also with the app, I was able to connect this to our Wi-Fi so I can see the status of what's going on with the dishwasher because it's hooked up on our Wi-Fi for the house. And a quick thank you to Lowe's for letting me have the opportunity to showcase this dishwasher on my channel. I will leave links down in the video description if you want to check out more information on this dishwasher and the different parts that I used to hook this up in this video. I do appreciate you guys watching. Be sure to make every day awesome. I've also done a video on how I installed the garbage disposal, which I hooked the dishwasher into. If you want to check out that video, that is going to be popping up at the end of this video as well. As always, I do appreciate you guys watching. Be sure to make every day awesome, and I will see you in the next video.